Hi, my name is Margie Grace. I'm a landscape designer and a landscape contractor, and I work in Santa Barbara, California. Sometimes get pulled off to other places, but here is where we do design and construction with our own crew. Welcome to my humble abode. It's also where we work. We've got an office in there with 3.5 of us working on plans and project construction and project management, and then there's a little studio where they send me when I'm making too much noise. And that's where we get sort of some intensive drawing going on and pulling apart samples to find just the piece that we want. And television, why television? Have you ever noticed how it's more fun in the sandbox with more people? Basically, I'm ready for a bigger sandbox. But really, so that's me. But what about y'all out there? 30 years worth of playing in the sand, moving rocks around, you know, tromping through nurseries and pulling trees together and plants together. There are things that we've learned. There's things that I've learned that is really useful information. One of the most important things is I'd love to see the design continuum all the way through build continuum, just put back in that natural succession. I do think it's important for people to get what they need around them. Our environment is critical for us. Our environment calls us to be a certain way. We know this. There's the space where you feel relaxed. There's spaces that are, you know, sort of key you up. There's spaces that make you laugh. It's about whimsy. I think that more than ever, environment's going to be important to us, and sort of environment and all the connotations that there are. So my crib, my environment, you know, my garden, that place where I go to, ... fill in the blank, where I decompress, where I deadhead the flowers instead of, you know, murdering my husband. You know, really, there's humor to be had there, but really the truth is that each of us needs in some way to recharge our batteries, and we need in some small corner of the planet to have something that we say, that is something that makes a difference to me, that I love, that I nurture, and that gives back to me. You could watch a lot of landscaping programs and never get down to something that says, that's it. That's what I want. That's how I do that. Oh, I've been asking for the wrong thing. I've been looking in the wrong place. I've been asking the wrong question. There's a lot of how-to, and not very much like why-to. And I think that that is a real service to provide people. Well, we have a little saying at Grace Design Associates, if it ain't fun, we don't do it, number one. None of us at this age and station in life are interested in an occupation, as in fill my time, occupy my time. We really do work really great as a team. We bring our clients into the process. We're always looking to see who is that person, and given who that person is, what does their environment look like? What is it that's going to serve them the most? Yeah, I can crack a joke here and there, but really what becomes the most entertaining is just watching the process take off, have people hit their stride. There is absolutely fun and entertainment to be had. We make sure that the personality of the person reads in that which has been designed and built for them, and that it's a true self-expression of who they are.
Well, you know, this back part is still one of my favorite little paths. I mean, we have so many secret paths here.
Yeah. That, you know, a lot of times in an urban lot, you never get the chance to discover something.
I know, because it's all
right out front
preset.
In that little rectangular square that is available just for you, and don't go over the line, you know.
And this area is so great for...
This is the rock hopping spot.
Yeah, this actually, now I've got to leap but I'll be on the phone and I'll be walking along and see.
I'm going to stay down here in case you need 911.
They call it an art, time-based performance. And so when you talk to me about how that in a garden you have to have it be now and then, and you have to think the whole thing through. It was like, it was a revelation.
It is different. I mean, if you're working on canvas, you've got 2 dimensions. You're working in a structure, you've got 3. And then you throw in the 4th is how it changes through time.
Right, right.
Say things like, well, I kind of see this, I think you made it up, intimacy gradient. Like there's this transition from the public space and moving from outside world to haven, and not like throw up the Great Wall of China and nobody look in here, but like this is clearly, you know, you're approaching something that is private and personal, and you begin to say who you are right at the street, and then continue like that.
And still an invitation, though.
I
mean,
without being a stay the hell out. Yeah.
Right, like the standard hedge mentality.
Yeah,
like, you know, we've got 15-foot hedges here. And
I'm glad I talked you out of the punji sticks, man.
There are 2 kinds of ways of doing art. One, you have the idea and then try and do that idea exactly. And the other is diving in and going, wow, I hope I discover what I'm doing here. And what worked well with Margie is that we both were able to do that. We were both able to give up our ideas of what it had to be and go, okay, what can it be in reality? So there actually was a 3rd partner, I think, in this landscape, in this garden, and it was the space itself, the land itself, what it gave us, the way it felt.
I'm really, really, really pleased with garden, and I'm really happy to know you guys. This garden grew out of who you guys were, and being able to share yourselves like openly enough so I could get it. I realize that it's kind of an intimate process. I try not to walk with hobnail boots in there. You know, when you do, you know, when people do let me in. But that the back and forth between you and I, particularly, just inside of the same language, has really that collaboration led to something so much more than it could ever be by sitting at a drawing table and, you know, sketching things out just so, and using straight edges.
It's the first house of its kind. And then when you won International Design of the Year in 2009, it just, it was like, okay, people have to pay attention. And I go, wait a minute, that's a pretty cool house, and the gardens are pretty cool.
It does work.
So we're constantly turning down things at this point. Like, we need a weekend off. Okay, thanks.
Well, have you gotten past the point where people just show up in the living room saying, I just had to come look at this?
Not in the living room, but still we have people stopping right out in front.
No, there's a thing for us as designers and builders, we can leave and say, oh man, we like that project. And then there's this other thing where people start saying, hey, I like your garden, and then, you know, submitting it to a juried panel of your peers, and having them say, wow, that is extraordinary, that does really work, that does hit the goal, it is on track with what we hope to create as landscapers. We have an installation crew here today at Victoria Garden Muse. This is a much watched project in downtown Santa Barbara. It is an infill project, and it's intended to be a seed project for all over the country. We've got 4 different homeowners have come together and decided they're going to downsize, they're going to lighten their footprint on the planet, and when they retire, they'd like to just stay right where they are. So these projects have been designed working with the Historic Landmark Committee of Santa Barbara. Vamos a plantarlo, dar la vuelta y la plantamos un poco alto. We buy sort of smaller plants and local if we're trying to lighten our footprint environmentally, which we are. So we'll do a little structural pruning as well, get things headed in the direction we want them to go in. And we'll take another look at it after winter and see how the branching structure is coming along. Once it's established, it's really drought tolerant. It gives us, it's deciduous, and we're looking for that because we want the winter warmth and the summer shade for this sunroom that we have here. Now the guys have moved on from the tree and we're working on getting the last of this grass in. Now typically, you know, if we're doing a green project and we're looking for sustainability, in Southern California we're looking for low water use because our rainfall around here on average is 17 inches a year. This is a plug of UC Verde buffalo grass. It is a warm season grass. It's a deep, deep rooter. It was developed through the UC system with the cooperation between UC Davis and UC Riverside. It is fantastic for the use that we want, which is be green, be tough, and not need much water. Pedro's going to grab a bunch of agapanthus. These are semi-dwarf Queen Anne agapanthus. They're real tough in the coastal area here. We put them in the ground and get them started, and then we ignore them, and they give us beautiful periwinkle blue flowers. They're just ending now. He's also going to grab some Santa Barbara daisy. It's a nice low ground cover. Again, once established, set it and forget it. Underneath there is this wall coming like this.
And then are
right?
we going to space it and mortar between it?
Yeah, and so these, and there'll be a true radius, you know, coming back here. We do some designing in back, and we do some gardening all around. My personal garden is a bit of, well, let's see. I want to be able to eat from here. I want to be able to relax here. I want to be able to see the birds and the bees here. I do a little experimenting. Sometimes you want to try it here before you let it loose on a client. See, I've got a little bit of a, hey Pete, I saw ya. We've got, I don't know, one of the things that happens to gardeners is you kind of run out of room before you run out of ideas. So the latest for me is, can we get it in a little denser? And if I'm giving it water, could it maybe, like, you know, pay me back for the water and maybe feed the family? So what's been happening about the last 3-4 years here is we're making sure that we're getting some veggies out of the ground. And as I said, the advantage of growing things in these beautiful pots is when the veggie garden's empty, it still looks good. So there's the public face of the garden. And the vegetables are out there, not just because it's public and I think it's fun to share, but there's good light out there. And if you want to get to know your neighbors, putting strawberries out on the street is a good way to make friends. Inside here's a little more private, and it absolutely, this collects some of the kids. I've still got a 20-year-old at home going to college, and you can look out here some nights and find half a dozen guys playing guitars and maybe playing a little bit of cards. This is a fountain. It gives us a little bit of noise. Definitely brings some color, definitely brings some movement, but it's also a really good bird bath. They like this super shallow water that they won't get stuck in, water they can splash in and that they can fly out of readily. Got enough visibility around it to be able to tell whether there's a cat sitting under it or not. It turns out in gardening, the gardener is not anywhere near as important as the plants themselves. They do know what to do. You just give a little, the right attitude, you know, the right attitude, let things occur how they will, and then just do a little editing as you go along.